Yeah, the title pretty much says it all with this one. Fit X Fearless is probably the most cringe alpha male guy I've ever seen in my entire life. We probably literally have someone here that is far worse than cringe Watson himself. But at least he has one thing going for him, I think, which is that he's not an ex-convict, so at least Wes Watson can't say that. And I actually don't know his name, to be completely honest with you, so I'm gonna nickname him for this video Delicate.
So delicate.
Delicate's goal on the internet is to basically teach you how to be a real man, a strong man, someone who can catch women and do everything that he needs to do. He essentially teaches you how to fulfill your destiny and tells you that you need to make a six-figure salary or you're completely worthless, literally. He constantly talks about how garbage you are and how specifically you are not going to get any women nor money in your life because you're ugly and unattractive. And yep, sadly, we continue to see this business model work so well on the internet. And at this point, I've just kind of learned to stop feeling bad for the people who fall for shit like this, because what else can you really do? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. A guy hires someone who tells them that they look like shit to continue to tell them that they look like shit, except he's paying them for it, and now he's getting some form of advice he couldn't have just got anywhere else. These fatherless children are killing me. We're giving these guys lifelines to do business models like this.
Here are 3 signs that you are a handsome guy. Number 1, you get frequent compliments. If you're not being told how good looking you are, chances are you're not that good looking.
I don't think I've actually ever seen anyone approach a man and just be blunt and say, you're attractive, you're hot. Like, this might happen in the club or somewhere where people are just belligerent and drunk, but most of the time in public, no one's just gonna openly say shit like this. In fact, I would argue that the women that do this are quite desperate and probably not the kind of females you want to surround yourself with. The reality is that you're not really that attractive at all. In his view, it's like he thinks that being slightly attractive is a cheat code to life, and you've suddenly gotten the invincibility buff in Mario Kart and you can just like walk through live traffic with no issues. Now, of course, I am the lord of beta males, and I completely understand that my looks are far inferior compared to this individual. And I guess with saying that, I can't really tell you any kind of anecdotal experience of if he's telling the truth or not. I'm not the most attractive guy, but that's never happened to me. However, the only place it did happen to me is in Thailand.
1 year in Thailand ไปตายาค่ะ
Which is what happens to every white man that goes to Thailand. So I don't really know. What's interesting about his past is that, well, he lived in Colombia for quite some time, which, you know, also is where it happens to be kind of like Thailand, where women just seemingly see a foreigner and they realize the opportunity there, not in the individual and his charisma, the individual's wallet.
Number 2, women break their rules for you. Women make rules for certain dudes and they break them for certain dudes. If you always hear, I need to go on this many dates, I'll wait this long, you're not the guy that she's gonna break those rules for.
So if a female forgoes all of her values and important characteristics, she is not a bad person, rather she's just getting rizzed up by you. That's all that is. While it's really cute to believe this fallacy, I think it's rather false. Like, so far from true. So far from true. See, the woman that you're probably hanging out with doesn't have good enough values or isn't a good enough person to embody those values enough to be hanging around. And the high quality females that would be worth dating and possibly even marrying aren't going to be associated with that kind of girl.
Here's why your mirror hates you in the morning. Because you got this greasy, dirty, oily skin. Your skin is looking like, why are you doing this to me? Help your skin out, man, with my go-to skincare routine, Teej Henley. Every single man needs to be using a skincare routine every single day. Stop letting your mirror hate you so much. Get Teej Henley Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Because you're watching this video, you're gonna get extra 40% off, 20% off for life, plus a free gift to make your face and your mirror happy.
And of course, he's going to bash people and immediately try to sell them a product that he's sponsored by as an affiliate. What could you expect? It is the typical influencer marketing slop, served up on a dirty, filthy plastic tray, slapped in your face, and you're told to eat it.
A lot of you guys are ugly. Here's how you fix it. It's taking care of your skin. A lot of you guys have acne. You have uneven skin tone. It's because your skincare sucks. When it comes to skincare, guys, nobody does it better than Teej Henley. My go-to skincare routine that I've been using for over 4 years is super uncomplicated. Every single man can use it. All you gotta do, man, is click the link below, go on the link in the description, pin comments, so you can be attractive in as little as 30 days.
Like, he's just endlessly pitching this link and trying to get people to buy this skincare product, but simultaneously telling them they look like garbage and they're pieces of shit and they're ugly, which is just so interesting to me. It's just so so interesting to me. Very interesting marketing tactic. It would literally be like if you walked into Target and you just are minding your own business and somebody comes up to you and they're just like, a Target employee, mind you, and they're just like, hey, I think you smell like shit. Like, you smell like absolute garbage. This shampoo is the one I recommend, and if you buy it right now, we actually have a 10% discount. Yippee-ki-yay. So buy it now, you dumb idiot, and go on your way. Like, that's not gonna work so well.
He's so ugly! I love him!
So let me get this straight. Basically, what Delicate is preaching in a very offensive and cruel way is to clean yourself, to have a general standard of grooming, and to be a decent, clean human being. Apparently, this is all it takes for someone to be successful on the internet these days. Maybe I should try that. Hey guys, before we go any further in this video, I am really trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. I'm trying like immensely hard. Now, I've been told that there's different ways to do that, produce more content, but I do that on a daily basis, so that's kind of hard to do more of. I've been told to ask for subscribers more, which is what I'm doing right here, but I also don't like doing that because I feel like I'm taking your time. So I'll just make this nice and simple. If you want to subscribe, it helps me out a ton. If you could send this to your friends, it really helps the channel grow. Any more eyes we can get on these videos would contribute massively to my goal of getting 20,000 subscribers. And if nothing else, just keep watching the video because time watched matters too. All right, back to the bullshit.
There are 3 things that you must have to be considered a handsome man. Number 1, a full body mirror. Being able to see yourself in front of the mirror every single day, put together outfits, see how your body looks. That mirror is not gonna lie. It's gonna show you the person you are. Number 2, extremely white teeth. Guys, I got veneers, but before I have veneers, guys, I would do my best to make my teeth as white as possible. No girl wants to be kissing on a dude with yellow crooked teeth. And lastly, is skincare routine. The first thing that everybody notices in you is your skin. This is why, guys, for over 3 years, my go-to skincare routine has been nobody other than Teej Henley. Teej Henley, guys, prides themselves on being uncomplicated skincare for men. Look how clear my skin is, guys. It's all thanks to my go-to skincare routine. Click on this link right here in the description, in the pinned comments, in the bio, so you can be a handsome man that women desire.
He goes from saying things like, you need a mirror, which is groundbreaking stuff, by the way. I'm needing to hire this guy to teach me more. This is crazy stuff. To then saying that he got veneers to make his teeth white and you should do something about your teeth not being white, slightly insinuating that you likely need veneers, which is fucking nuts, to then again popping out his sponsor for skincare. The degree of disconnection here from society at large is so nuts.
Here are some weird signs that you're an average man. Number 1, no one ever talks about your looks. Guys, if you never hear how handsome you are, good looking, attractive you are, you're an average dude. Please understand that human beings let attractive people know that they are attractive. Even if it's by mistake. You'll be talking to people, randomly you just hear how handsome you are.
Ah, shit, here we go again. And I don't mean to hate on dudes who aren't gifted with the gift of height. I don't know, I'm 6'2", it's pretty nice. I realize some men don't have that kind of height on them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be honest. To each their own. You can find success in many different capacities. I'll just be looking down at you. I'm just fucking around. You'll be looking up at me and I'll probably be crying because I'm fucking miserable. But this is a guy who's talking about not being an average man, yet he's standing a whopping 5'6" tall. Brother, you're literally the physical embodiment of average. His opinions are quite honestly the embodiment of a Disney prince. This is what he's probably thinking about. What would a Disney prince be like? Tall, handsome, powerful, he'd be able to protect people. People would call him pretty and woo over him. And you know what? Girls would gift him with things and he would also make a lot of money. He'd be the prince. He'd make a lot of money.
Like, if you never hear that, especially from women, if you don't hear how cute, attractive, good looking you are, you're average, bro.
So if women aren't literally climbing over the booths at restaurants to say that they think you're attractive, you're a loser. Can we just back the fuck up for a minute? What the hell is so wrong with being average in the first place? Most people who live average lives are actually pretty fucking happy, and I would kill to be an average Joe most of the time. And I think spitting average is doing pretty good for themselves in general. Like, I truly don't understand the fact that everyone has to be so unique. At a certain point, becoming unique just becomes the process of becoming average in a weird, convoluted way. Truly, women don't have to be running across a busy street to tell you something about how cute you are to be good or to be above average or important. Most women, in fact, will never tell you that you're attractive unless they're in a relationship with you. that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Women don't care to do things like that very often, again, unless they're looking for an ulterior motive. If you're at a club, someone's drunk, or you're in a relationship.
Number 2, your net worth is under 6 figures. Guys, you no longer can be a man, an able-bodied man in the Western world and have under 6 figures. You're making under 6 figures. Women won't even take you seriously, bro. You're a regular dude. There's no incentive for a woman to be with you. You have to make more money.
Has this man ever left his apartment once? Like even just one time? I seriously think that the people who have these kind of opinions have lived in the biggest walled garden of all time in all of existence. Because if you've ever actually just traveled the world once, you'd realize quite a few things about humankind. Because what you'd really find is that real men, or whatever kind of slop-ass term you want to use to define what a man is, don't make a ton of money. They don't do extravagant, crazy things all of the time. They literally don't do a whole like woman-to-woman kind of lifestyle. They basically do what they need to do to manage for their own family and live life in the capacity that allows them to prosper as a family. That doesn't mean they need to make $1 million a year. Doesn't mean you need to make $100,000 a year. For most people in most countries, that means you need to do the bare minimum so that you can be with your family and help them prosper as much as possible. Would having more money help? Sure, but it also usually means being away from your family more, and in other cultures, that's not okay. It's like the most mute point to me ever. More than 65% of Americans make less than $75,000 a year in their jobs. And I would guarantee you most men that do make around 60 to 75K a year are generally probably pretty happy. Are all of them happy? No. Like, there are millionaires who have been very, I can't say this due to YouTube terms, but wanting to hurt themselves in a certain capacity that would mean they no longer breathe, and they've done it. The money doesn't make the person happy. From the places I've been to, sometimes the men that make scraps and just live based on the community that they're in are the happiest people I've ever actually met, and they have complete fulfillment. They aren't trapped in these vicious versions of capitalism. They aren't stuck with women who see them only as an opportunity for another dollar sign. They aren't trapped in monthly bills that drown them entirely so that they have to work more and more just to keep up with their own goddamn bills until they get burnout and eventually get depressed. I'm talking to you, Wes Watson. People like Wes Watson have to compare themselves all of the time to other people to make sure that they're making more money. And if they're not satisfied. They're not happy. And they won't find happiness just by making more money because there's always someone better than you. Imagine never being okay with who you are. Imagine never being comfortable just sitting down for a moment and accomplishing the things that you've done being enough to fulfill you. Which, don't get me wrong here, I know this can go very, very much so the wrong way into being lazy and honestly just a horrible person in and of itself. There is value in maniacal senses of urgency with improving yourself. But where that ends is extremely important. Having a maniacal sense of urgency to get to a point and then realizing once that point has been reached, it's finite and you need to graduate from it onto something else is so important. I make really decent money, bros. Like, real talk, I do very well for myself. But here's the reality though, and this is truth to off my fucking back. As you make more money, as you begin to develop more currency of whatever kind, you will have more problems and more issues in your environment all of the time, to an extent in where it begins to feel like you're just a cow lying over on its side with tits that drain dollar bills, and there is just a line of pigs as far as the eye could see coming to suckle that tit for as much dollars as they can get before the next one comes in and sucks it again.
Mama!
I feel more broke now than I ever did making $8 an hour, working at Napa Auto Parts part-time. It's not like once you start making money, your life exponentially gets better. In fact, oftentimes it is the exact opposite. You just accumulate more debt, you accumulate more bills, you accumulate more need to pay the government taxes, which is an astronomical amount of money, mind you. You actually get more broke as you make, let's say, $40,000 a year to $100,000 a year. You lose more money as a business owner. It's not a one-for-one trade-off. More money means you're more significant and more attractive and more ideal. Oftentimes, it can consequentially mean much worse, that you're less satisfied with yourself, more stressed out, and have less time to do the things that you want to do, even though you should be able to do more of them because you have more money.
I've gotten way more attention when I've moved back to Miami than I was in Colombia. Crazy. I'm like, you would think that I'm a foreigner in Colombia, girls are going to be treating me differently. But I think it's been opposite. If you make yourself stand out as a man, I think you might have more leverage in America.
And what's even more funny about this guy is in every clip that he makes when he's talking about, some kind of shit and he has like a woman touching him or something, those are all girls from Colombia because he lived in Colombia. And again, Colombia is much like Thailand, where if you just walk around, girls are going to grab your dick. Girls are going to touch you. They're going to be all over you. It's just kind of how Thailand is. It's kind of how Colombia is. It's very natural. Well, I mean, it's not natural, but it's what happens. He's not special. He's not that attractive. He's not anything crazy or unique. He's just leveraging girls who want his money to show that he possibly can get girls, even though we kind of know the reality of that situation. It's not like he's actually getting women from America to approach him, nor is he getting girls from Miami to do anything about him. I think actually most girls would probably miss him as he's walking by because they're looking far above his head and never even saw him in the first place. Unless, of course, he smiled, because then they could see those veneers from across the street at that point. In a weird way, at the end of this all, I kind of think this man is sort of a beta in and of himself. I mean, just imagine being the girl talking to him and you find his TikTok profile or his Instagram profile and you see that all he's doing is addressing men and talking about being kind of almost which I don't use this word often, but misogynistic to women, and that being a good thing, and talking about how he needs to help men grow their penises, so he has a private course for you to show you how to grow your penis, which we kind of know what that's going to entail in terms of visuals. What's more beta than that? You're making your money off of men who need to grow their penises? No shot she's looking at this guy's posts and hearing what he's having to say and thinking, yeah, he's an alpha male. He's the one. Yeah, there's no shot. Not to mention he's posting predominantly on a child-based platform, and he's talking about how to be less ugly and more of a man to likely 18 minus year olds. Again, even pitching his penis growing course, which is a real thing, you guys. He's pitching that stuff, and I've talked about jelking and stuff before. It's listen, find your own journeys, okay? That's not mine. You could, of course, join his one-on-one course for dating. He does offer that, or join his private Discord group, or even on his Linktree, you could find his private courses, which he sells on his website for some undisclosed amount of money. But I think, honestly, at the end of those trails, you'd find a whole lot of nothing. Well, you probably find a lot of disappointment. The only thing that's gonna make you live in the reality that he's sowing for you is by sowing that reality for yourself and becoming so delusional that you actually believe it's true. These people are grifters, they're liars, and they're complete frauds, and they just realize that if they talk shit to men that are unfortunately weaker minded, they're gonna make their money, and it makes a lot of money. It's kind of sad. But what do you think? Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and of course, if you have opinions about what I've said, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Love to hear that stuff.